The scene had thankfully panned away from the horrific side of the children mutilated and was back to the principal's office. I asked Larry if he saw some cartoon animals talking or crying, since that was what they were doing on my TV. To my surprise, he said that he saw nothing like that. He said it was a rerun of an old Looney Tunes short. In utter shock, I dropped the phone and ran over to the TV to turn it off, and as hard as I pressed the buttons, it would not shut off at all. I tried every single button, and none of them did a thing. I tried unplugging the whole thing as well, but nothing worked. The TV stayed on no matter what. Larry had hung up, assuming that I was playing a joke or something, I guess. And I was alone, once again. My door was locked from the outside somehow, and the door to my bathroom was not locked as well. It seemed that I had no choice but to call the police. Since my other family members were gone that night, it was a reason I could stay up so late to watch adults swim in the first place. When I hurriedly dialed the number, I accidentally dropped my cell phone into my cup of Pepsi. I was very scared. I had no choice but to finish the episode. I turned on all the lights in my room and got under the covers, hiding like my little brother does when I make him watch scary movies with me. I had apparently missed a little bit, but Gumball's parents were still talking to Principal Brown, so not that much. Nicole was asking if Gumball was alright. Apparently since she had remembered him when Principal Brown told her what had happened to Darwin and Anais. He looked slightly confused and shocked for a moment, and explained to her that he thought Gumball was out sick today and he had spent the day at home by himself with the stomach bug. Nicole screamed and wailed while Richard quietly told him, in a very odd character voice, that they thought Gumball had got on the bus this morning, but it didn't seem that way. The police were called once again to search the building in the small forest outside of Elmore Junior High. They had found him in Miss Simeon's classroom, hanging by a noose, with a blood-covered knife behind him and blood covering his clothing. The episode ended with the shot of Gumball's dead body hanging there in the corner fading to black. The credits rolled silently, not like the usual way Cartoon Network annoyingly airs a promo that squishes half the screen. These credits rolled unusually slow, and they weren't that fun to watch either. A little creepy, just plain white text scrolling on a black background. I recognized Ben Bucklehead's name, as he was the creator of the show. The rest were people I had never heard of. The copyright notice at the end said Cartoon Network Studios 2001, which was incredibly odd, seeing as the show was new for 2011. After all that was over, the screen went static for a split second, during which some incredibly creepy and shocking video clips were shown between static intervals. I could still remember them all very clearly. The first was a picture of a person in a plague doctor outfit. Those always scared me for some reason, and the way the person in the suit was filmed was just as bad. Red light, something that freaks me out incredibly, was shown over the clip. The next was what seemed like a video being played very quickly, over and over, of a kitten's face being squished by a woman wearing high heels, which was strange because a so-called friend of mine sent me a picture yesterday of a cat being stepped on and killed, similar to the kitten in the video. The last one was the one that disturbed me the most and made me want to both cry and vomit my guts out. It was my little brother, or at least a small child who looked very similar to him, being shot in the face by a person who looked like my father. You could clearly see the child's brain and blood splatter on the wall. I began to sob uncontrollably after that traumatizing clip, so much so that I passed out. When I woke up, my door was unlocked and my television was turned off. I went to call the police on the home phone in my kitchen and report that I had seen some very disturbing things on TV and that my doors had been locked. When they arrived, they could find nothing like what I remembered from early this morning. I told my brother about the episode and he fainted. My internet history wasn't even cleared. They were angry at me and just assumed that I had had a bad nightmare when I was sure I hadn't. Good thing I recorded the episode. The officers were shocked at what I showed them. One of the officers felt bad for me and took me out to a small diner so I could recollect my thoughts. At the diner, I remember that my family was out visiting my aunt, and they were supposed to be back by noon or so. It was already 11, so the officer and I drove back only to find a whole squad of police cars and even some government agents at my house. They explained to me that my little brother was missing and that my mother and father were major suspects. I was freaking out and trying to tell them about the disturbing clip of the boy who looked like my brother being shot in the head, but they wouldn't listen. I stayed with my older brother, Larry, Wouldn't believe me either, still insisting that all he saw was an old Looney Tunes cartoon and nothing at all creepy or weird. The cops eventually told me that they would contact Turner Broadcasting and tell them about the incident. A representative at Turner Broadcasting came to my cousin's house to talk to me in private about what I had seen and experienced that night. He's very kind, but it all seemed a little like some sort of front. After I could tell him all I remembered, he agreed to play back that day's programming from when the incident with the disturbing Gumball episode occurred. To my shock, all that was airing at that time was an old Looney Tunes short. Nothing more, nothing less. I hysterically sobbed and moaned that what I had experienced and seen was completely real, but no one listened. Eventually, I discovered that Ben Bucklet had a Twitter account, so I sent a message about the episode, and this was the reply I got. One thing, how in the heck did you find that? I never ever thought I would think about that old shame again. Don't tell anyone. Don't tell anyone this, Sarah. Yes, that's my name. But the amazing world of Gumball goes back further than you know. I used to have a really boring job as a teen, and I sketched little drawings of the Watersons and friends. The episode you saw was never supposed to be seen by anyone but me and a few friends of mine. It was a very awful thing to do, but we made the episode as a joke. A guy from my old job who everyone hated had lost a child to a crazy serial killer who was apparently still out there somewhere. Anyway, we made it so we could make fun of how he came into work, usually crying like a fool, which is why he saw Mr. and Mrs. Watterson cry so much in the episode. I know, I am deeply sorry for what I did, which is why I tried to bury that stupid thing years ago. Literally, I went out in the countryside with my mates and dug a hole and buried it. What I don't get though, is how you describe the blood and guts and stuff. We didn't have any scene with Darwin and Anais's bodies being found. All that happens in the episode is the parents are informed of the kids being found dead and crying like crazy. We didn't even draw anything in the episode like that at all. We're not that sick. Now this is my theory. The lunatic who killed the man's child found the tape we buried, watched it, and heavily edited it. Then he hijacked the local TV station near bugged out the name of my city. I'm paranoid enough, and it's a small town. Somehow, and got the episode to air on your local Cartoon Network station. Now why your brother couldn't see it, I have no idea. Why it seems you're the only one who saw it, I have no idea either. Sorry, I just don't know. Now, for the explanation you have been waiting for, the clips at the end, I don't know. I don't. I'm deeply sorry from the bottom of my heart. But I don't know why those clips were aired. I just don't. I am sorry. I really am. But me and my mates are just the ones that made those scenes with Richard and Nicole crying. That's it. I'm so sorry, Sarah. I'm so deeply sorry. Best wishes, Ben Bucklet and everyone involved. Seriously, stay the fuck away from that episode. And that is the end.